Aloha and welcome to Lucy's Paradise podcast. Today I have Scottie G, and Scottie G has his own podcast. It's called Just Be with Scottie G. Hi, Scottie.
Hello. Hey, thank you so much for having me. Everybody always says that, like, thank you so much for having me. But I view it like this. It's kind of like at least here when you own a boat, like the best day of your life and the worst day of your life is your boat, you know what I mean? And then
Yep.
it's always better to have friends that have boats, like to go out on their boats. And so when
Mm.
you have a podcast, it's like owning a boat. But when you get to go on somebody else's podcast, it's like going on their boat. So I appreciate you having me on here.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
No, I'm so thankful, and I love having other podcasters because when I have guests on, love them, but they're not necessarily podcasters. So sometimes there's a nervousness or not so much experience. And what's nice about having a fellow podcaster is you can talk and you have your own podcast. So there's not really any that curve where you're going to be nervous or whatever. So it's nice that I can just have you on and then we can just jump into the podcast. It's really fun for me.
It's kind of like dancing and learning to dance. You know what I mean? When you
Yes.
when you podcast it for a long period of time, you really realize there's a time when you don't talk and a time when you do talk and you do that dance with that person. But when you're first doing it, I remember when I go back and look at the first episodes of my podcast, I talk so much, too much, and I was just like, man,
Mm,
like, and I wanted to be better at this skill. And so then you do,
yes.
just like you learn how to dance or do anything. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And I think it is good to also look back, and see.
It's tough
So
sometimes. So.
it's especially in the moment, like I'll catch myself in the moment being like, wait, don't go down that rabbit hole.
Well, I
um,
remember like I hadn't gone back. I've done like 100 and something episodes, right? And
right.
so I hadn't gone back and looked in a while. And I went back and looked at how I did intros because the podcast has evolved over
Mm,
time, right? And I was
yes,
looking at
yes,
the way I
yes.
did intros in the beginning, and I thought that I had like so much energy. I was like, I brought it on it,
Oh,
right? And then I go back and look at it, and it's like,
wow.
so in this episode will be that, and I didn't even like move or nothing.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, I have evolved. Like I didn't even realize that I had evolved. I thought that I was just the kind of same. And then you go back and you see that progress, and sometimes that really motivates you, and especially in points where you want to give up on something that's a passion, something that becomes
right.
a purpose passion. Like those kinds of things will kind of wake you up a little bit. Smelling salts.
Yeah. What inspired you to start a podcast, or when did you like kind of, say, "Oh, I have maybe the skill or the desire to do a podcast?" Like what kind of inspired that for you?
Well, what originally started this whole thing is my girlfriend is a musician, and so during the pandemic, we turned my garage into like a studio, right? So the original idea was is that she was going to record music here and stuff like that. But
Mm.
she hated the acoustics in here, and so then we had
Oh.
built out kind of this recording studio, and stuff like that. And I just told a couple of my friends, I go, what if we just, during the pandemic, there's a lot of podcasts starting during the pandemic too. And so
Mm.
I said, well, what if we just do something with our friends, to be cool? Like, just like a lot of people do. They just want to, do that thing of chatting with your friends. And then when you listen to it, it's like you're listening to their friend group kind of thing, right? And
Mm.
so we kind of started it, and I'm just blessed enough to have met tons of cool people in my lifetime and tons of people I think find it super interesting. And so I just started asking people, and then I started asking more people. Then I started asking people I didn't know. I started asking people that I didn't know that went on, hey, can I ask your friend? And how could I just find the most
Oh.
interesting people to interview? And then now I've been doing it for like 5 years or something like
So it
that.
was a happy accident.
Yeah, pretty much. But nothing's really a happy accident if you're paying attention. You know what I mean?
Mm.
In the sense of like when you're really connected into everything, you
It's
see a
always
lot
meant to
more.
be, yeah.
Yeah, well, you see a lot more of these things that people might just view as kind of coincidences, and you're like, well, why are there so many of them, and why are they lining up? It's because you're more lined up with whatever's controlling this whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. You're in tune. You're in
That's the way
tune.
I see it, right? Like that, you
Yeah, oh
know,
yeah.
some people might attach that to religion. Some might that people might attach that to the universe.
Hmm.
But when you're connected into the thing that's bigger than all of us and the reason why we're here, I feel like you just see all these things that line up for your life that maybe you just would have even noticed or would have just passed as one-offs, like, oh, that just cool thing happened. But when you really look at the strain of things, you go, oh my gosh, like all this led me to here, and this is why my life is so great, at least in my opinion.
Interesting. I'm definitely get sensing a hippie vibe, spiritual vibe from you with what you just said.
Well, I think a lot of people kind of get that because I leave myself so vague about like religion and things like that. And it's not necessarily on purpose. It's just like I know there's no sense in really kind of naming it something, because no matter what your religion is or what you do, when you're connected into the bigger thing, it's all the same. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
I think
if you
so.
think of
Yeah.
every religion is basically saying the same thing with a different God. So
Right.
what does that mean? It means
Hmm.
that we all understood it from some point. And even if you just believe that there's a universe and it's a cosmos and it's a spiritual, then it's still the same.
Right. Right. So, what inspired Just Be?
Oh man, it's crazy that you asked me that, because I was just thinking today. I haven't gone on somebody else's podcast in a while, and I was like, I wonder what kind of questions she'll ask me. And I was like, I wonder if
Oh.
she'll ask me. I swear, I said, I wonder if she'll ask me about the Just Be thing. And before we kind of started, we kind of touched on that I go to therapy,
Hmm.
and I think this therapist was like my third therapist that I had had, and
Hmm.
I was just struggling with myself and who I was as a person and all, everything and anything. And she said to me, she goes, "Why can't you just be, just be here? Like, don't be here, don't be there, don't be thinking about this, don't be doing, just be like right here, right now." And at the time, I was like, "What is this lady talking about? I don't know what she's talking about." You know, and then you
Interesting.
fast forward, like she was my therapist for, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years or something like that. And you fast forward to this other part of my life. That phrase stuck with me that whole time. And then I was thinking, wow, like that is what I've been striving for this whole time. She gave me this great gift. And in a sense, it's kind of it's kind of a honor to her to have had the Just Be. But and I've told her that. I was like, this whole thing was kind of inspired by what you told me, and something had inspired her. But the Just Be came from to like my own self and who I am, and just being the best version of myself. And what does that take? And what works for me might not work for you, but it might work for somebody else. And
Right.
sharing that knowledge is great, right? And all those things. But like me being the best version of myself is the only thing that I can do that nobody else can do. Nobody else can do that except for me. And
Hmm.
so, how am I going to show up? And what are the things I'm going to do so I show up that way? And then that changed how I saw things, and that changed my clientele and who I was and how I coached and all this stuff. And then you fast forward, and we're here.
Interesting. I like that. Just Be. It's funny because when I years ago, many years ago, in a faraway life of mine, I worked at Apple, and one of my coworkers said, "We are human beings, but how much time do we spend being?" And that stuck with me, just that phrase. And he would always just throw out these nuggets of knowledge, and I was like, this dude's been through so much shit that I have no idea about. But I liked when he said that because every now and again, it will come back to me, kind of like how that comes back to you. And I'm like, that is so true. We get so distracted with life or bills or what's going on in the world. And what I like about where I live, because I live in Hawaii, is I can just go to the beach and I can
Mhm.
just sit in the sun
Fantastic.
and I can just hear the waves. And that's where I be, where I
No,
just
no,
be,
no, 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 no. But like one, I'm so jealous. That's just so amazing, right? But two, tell me if the experience is something like this. You probably go out there, you probably leave your phone, like you don't take your phone, right? Like you
You
just go
can't.
out there, it's just you. You might put your feet in the water and you just sit and you listen and you think and you hear and you feel. And that's a form of meditation. And
Oh, yeah.
that is the Just Be part of recharging who you are mentally, clearing
Mhm.
space in the garage so you can fill it with more stuff, right? Like you
Yeah.
have to do those kinds of things. And when we think about distractions, I mean, we are we are more distracted than ever. And so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like it's super important to take those moments. So amazing that you do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I really have to, or I would lose my mind. I mean,
Yeah.
I made a joke with my therapist, which sometimes I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, but but I made a joke, and I was just like, I'm a couple steps away from being, you know, that person on the street that we see talking to themselves. Like, I'm pretty much almost there. I'm not on the street talking to myself. I'm in my apartment doing it, but at the, you know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like I'm only a few steps away from that. So, and I was kidding, obviously, but I'm not shadow boxing the air in the middle of the street downtown. But I feel sometimes I'm just like I understand. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that too right now. Just want to yell profanities randomly. You know?
I think we really underestimate the power of like how clearing space in your mind for the things that you really want to do and how that helps that accomplishment. We underestimate that tremendously, right? So like we'll just say as an
Mm,
example, you have like fitness goals, right?
mhm,
If you're not clearing the mental space for all the tough things it takes to get those fitness goals, you might do the work, but does the work really, do you get back what you're putting into the work if you would clear that mental space and really dug in and really done this and really been mentally prepared and your body was relaxed when it need to and it kept the stress down so that you can grow muscle and all those things. Like we don't think about how deep that could really go. You know what I mean?
mhm, mhm.
And so I
Yeah,
think
it's really
that,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, but like it sounds like already, like you have so many tools that you're using. Like you said, you have a therapist, and you go to the beach. You're doing the work for your mind, so that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And I wanted to ask kind of about the type of coaching you do, and like what started that, and where are you living also?
Well, it's funny you should ask. I figured that you would might be interested in this place. I live in Austin, Texas.
Wow, I just went there for the first time finally.
What? Okay, what'd you think? Give me a quick review. Quick review of Austin, Texas. What'd you think?
So quick review, and I was only there for maybe I think it was like 4 days, 4 or 5
That's
days.
enough.
One of my friends, he does a lot of the promoting for the Concourse project. Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience that part of it, but he did end up it was a kind of the middle of the week, so he was able to like rally a bunch of cool friends, and then they kind of like took me around and showed me stuff. So I did go to one bar where it looked like grandma's house and everything was wrapped in plastic. That was cool. I loved it. There was definitely like I could see that there's a lot of a party scene there. What else? I'm not really into like cowboy boots and stuff, but I still went into like this cowboy boot store and like explored it because it was super cool because
Yeah.
I just wanted to check it out. And then they had this one place, I forget what it's called. I bought a hat from the place. I should, yeah, too bad I'm not wearing it. But they had a live guitarist, and you could do karaoke,
Oh,
so
nice.
you could
Oh, yeah.
sing with the live guitarist. So I sang a couple songs,
That's
and
cool.
I was able to get that on video, and I was like, okay, well, music check, cool dive bars, nightlife check. I mean, I'm not a big, I don't drink, but I do like to go out and meet people and make friends and anything with music, right? And that was cool. So I liked that part of it. They also have that comedy, the mothership or something, right,
Mhm.
where they do the comedy. I Unfortunately we didn't have time, so I definitely want to do that next time. Is actually go to a comedy show there, but it's cute and it's awesome, and I could totally see myself living there. But yeah, I liked it. So
Yeah,
I
it's
would give it 8 out of 10. I would say so far.
yeah, I think that's very fair. It has a big music scene. I know you're in the music, so I figured you would have checked out the music scene. So stuff like that, I feel like I'm not into it, but I feel like there's a pretty big DJ kind of circle around here. Like a lot of DJs
Oh,
that played a
okay.
lot of these bars and stuff like that. So yeah.
I
So I
also
have a
went
couple of
into
friends that are old
one.
DJs, like they're old DJs
Not those
from
are the
back in the day.
best. Those are the best because they're literally those are the ones that I grew up watching. But one place I did also go, and you know me, I'm not scared of anything. That's just how I am. I lived in Los Angeles, so I went by myself, and my friends were like, you shouldn't have gone out on 6th Street by yourself." And I was like, "It was fine." I went into one bar,
It's
made friends
fine.
with the
It's fine.
bartender there. Yeah, it was fine. And I think I have a good sense of like where the crazy is happening. Um, and once it got a little rowdy and all that, you know, I kind of was like, oh, you know, I'm not going to stay out too late anyway. I was fine. But I went into this one place, cool bar. They had pool tables, and the door guy played pool with me.
Yeah.
We played like 3 games of pool. So it was cool. People were cool there. I liked it. I liked it.
The
I
cool
could,
part about it, the cool part about Austin is it's kind of like it's I don't want to say it's like California, but like it's got
hmm,
this cool vibe, right? It's got this cool vibe, but then it has the southern hospitality underneath it of the South and Texas, right? You know, because everybody kind of
I love
is
that.
always like, you know, like
I love
here,
that.
welcome, thank you, how you doing, kind of stuff. And you know, when you go to the places, it's not always like that, you know. So
I love any place where chivalry is alive.
I mean, you know, like
Because in
it's just the way
California, I don't think it is.
it's just the way I was raised. You know, I grew up in a really small town in South Texas, and my parents were, they were just the people they were. And it was yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, welcome, you know,
I like that. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff all the time. And so, like, you know, it really comes from a, you know, I could see maybe how some people, it might rub them the wrong way. But if you could really understand, like, where it comes from, of like, you know, like this is politeness is how I was raised, you know, and so I'm
Yeah.
really trying to be as warm and welcoming as possible. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My mom is kind of has that like she would have I mean she didn't like require us to say yes ma'am or anything like that, but my mom was very big on you know, respecting elders, respecting other people, titles, you know, in Hawaii it's a little bit different. So somebody that we're showing respect to, we may call auntie or uncle, and
Mhm.
that's kind of the equivalent of, you know, yes sir ma'am. And then a lot of our military here will just they're always saying yes sir and ma'am, so here in Hawaii. So yeah, but that I mean that's great, you know, to have manners and be polite. And
Yeah, it's awesome.
that is interesting that you're saying that that is an underlying thing, because that is so true. Because yeah, it was just cute. There was some jewelry store too I went to, Kindle something, and I read this whole
Kendra,
history.
Kendra Scott. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
I don't know the story, but that started here in Austin, and so yeah, it's
It's
a big
so awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. She does cool stuff. She gives back a lot, you know, supposedly. So yeah, it's
Yeah, that's
awesome. Yeah.
awesome. She has a book too. But yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Just learning about what comes from there and just different stuff is cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'll probably go back again, and it does help that I have a friend that's out there. So
Come in the wintertime. Don't come right now. Don't come right now.
yeah, no, I'll have to
It
come in
is
winter.
hot.
Yeah, yeah.
It is hot.
The only reason I ended up going, it was a work thing, so I had to it was so I had to go. But
Oh, also, winter here is December through February, so it's short. It's real short. The rest of the time, you can still go swimming. So,
oh, that's even better. That's perfect.
I mean, like, you know, I just sold my boat. Just sold my boat.
No.
It was time. I have a daughter, and we have other plans and other things we're gonna do. And so, but I mean, we could go boating. We could start as early as March, and we could boat as late as like November. It was amazing.
Wow. What type of boat?
It was a ski boat, so we'd wakeboard and wake skate and pull
That's so
tubes and
cool. I
stuff
love
like
that.
that. Yeah, we
Love.
have two major lakes here, and so we would just go to one, and then
Oh, okay.
we would float with our friends and hang out and play music and, you know, act dumb.
Yeah, just chill. Yeah, yeah. So here we have what they call the Kaneohe Sandbar.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
you can rent a boat, and then on the weekends everybody with their boats, they meet up at the sandbar, and it's just a huge party.
The thing
Crazy.
like that here is called, they call it Devil's Cove, and so there's this cove on this
Oh.
lake, and then
Ooh.
all the boats go in there, and they all like tie up, and then They all walk across it's a big old party. It's crazy. I'm sure I haven't been out there in like probably like 15, 20 years. And I bet it was nuts when I went out there. I can't
Yeah.
imagine how crazy it is now.
Wow,
So
that
these
sounds
kids are
cool.
crazy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so much fun. So much fun. Be young, do dumb things, try to be safe. But yeah, like I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So the coaching, tell me about the coaching.
So I was a personal trainer for about, I don't know, like 15 years. And I realized a long time ago that, like, for the like gym pop or the regular person, a lot about what comes along with weight loss and all the things of being healthy and stuff like that is like it's your mind. Like, I mean, a
Oh,
lot of it's like
100%.
it's a mental thing, right?
Mhm.
And so, I was coming to this kind of like conceptual thing, and then I was working with this guy. His name was Dave. R.I.P. Dave. He started with me when he was 79, and he passed away at old age at 91. And
Wow.
I saw him through the last like 12 years or
Wow.
so, like, of his life, right? And so
Mhm.
I really got a perspective of what aging looks like all the way to death and all the things that are going to happen, because like I had grandparents that I had and passed away, but I didn't spend as much time with them as I did Dave because I was with him twice a week. I didn't see my grandparents like twice a week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah.
And so going through that process, I realized, oh, like that's what I'm going to go through. And then I realized, oh, that's what my parents are going to go through. And then I realized, oh, that's what everybody's going to go through. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
how am I going to help my clients get ahead of this so that as you get older, like your body somewhat stays with you? Because if you start to lose your health as you get older, there's nothing more miserable than being old and unhealthy. I mean, that's the
Mm.
worst combination,
Yep.
you know what I mean? Because then, you don't really have a lot of life. And I have a daughter, she's gonna be 5 here in about like a
Oh,
month,
wow.
and I'm gonna turn 50 next February, right? And so I got a long time to go. I started way too late. I got a long time
Yeah.
to go, and I want to make sure that I am living every moment with her. And
Right.
so my perspective on health and what I do with my clients now is all about like how do we show up and be the best versions of ourselves today, right? I'm not talking about tomorrow. Not talking about yesterday. I'm talking about what we control today. How are we going to show up our best today? How are we going to move this forward? If it's an inch today, if it's a foot tomorrow, fantastic. We're moving forward. Some days we might be just treading water, but
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it, right? But it doesn't mean we stop, right? That doesn't mean we stop. And so I get my clients to think about not only what they want right now, but what they want 10 years from now, what they want 20 years from now, what they want to do when they retire,
Mhm.
right? Because when you
Yep.
retire, unfortunately for a lot of people, their job is their life. And
Mm.
like maybe their job that was their life isn't the life they wanted. They didn't want to be whatever it was. They wanted to be
Mm.
something else, right? And so when you retire, hopefully you have time and the money to do the things you want to do. And so maybe you pick up a hobby or you do something that gives you purpose. Because ultimately, what I found with my client Dave, to wrap up this so long thing,
Yeah, yeah.
is when Dave lost purpose of why he should be here, that's when everything went,
Mm.
you know what I mean? When he lost the
Mhm.
reason to be,
You
it
gotta have
just,
purpose. Yeah.
yeah, he's got you got to have purpose, right? And so it made me realize that like I have in my mind, I have a responsibility not only to my clients, but to myself and to my family to show up as best version of myself and help them show up as best version of themselves because that's when they're going to maximize their life. When your battery's full, I mean, you're gonna kill it, right? When it's 50%, you're gonna get 100% return on 50%. But that might be all you have that day. But let's let what why we 50? We got to get you back up to 100. Like every day, we got to be replenishing that battery, right? It's
Mhm.
like a bank account, and like you
Right.
get $2,000 a day, and every day it's gone, no matter if you spend it or not. So how are you going to do every day when you show up? That's so.
Mhm.
I just changed my whole philosophy.
Mhm. I like that. It's very true. I mean, when what's funny is you're talking to somebody who spent so I was 16 years old when my dad got prostate cancer. So I was in high school
Mm,
and I spent a lot of time of my life taking care of, my sick father. So I think a lot of my perspective and mindset is I am very into preservation, and longevity of my life. And I'll read stuff. All kinds of research of, like, basically how I always tell people, how do I live longer? How do I live longer? All this stuff. And this is kind of why I really like working out. I like eating well. I like researching all of that. What else? And we're just kind of spoiled too with, like, how great technology has gotten. And it's just very surprising to me when I still see unhealthy people. But the mental part of it is very crucial, because even though my dad wasn't necessarily the healthiest person in terms of dieting, and doctors told him, you probably shouldn't be drinking anymore, and he would still, like, have a beer, is that my dad did whatever he wanted, and he definitely was happy. But unfortunately, he was never able to retire, and then spent the last 4 years of his life in a hospital, and in a hospital bed. Which, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can't spend a night in a hospital, so I don't know about 4 years. It would make it really hard for me to want to live. And so I spend really every day using that as an inspiration, because I have nieces and nephews. I don't have kids, but I do have nieces and nephews and family. And I think we do hold some sort of responsibility to our family, because if we don't take care of ourselves, like, somebody's got to take care of you. I mean, if they want to, obviously, but who's that going to be? I mean, do I really want to end up in a hospital with nobody? I don't know. But I mean, there's a lot of different things. Obviously, I'm very scattered with that thought, but
Well,
that's a little of my history.
let me say something. You are responsible for you, right?
Yeah.
If someone else is being responsible for you, then who's responsible for that person? Right? Because
Hmm.
now they're responsible for you. So ultimately, you are responsible for you. So the greatest gift you can give anyone on this planet is being
It's a take.
responsible for your own stuff, being aware of your own stuff, taking care of your own stuff.
Yeah.
Don't be dumping your BS on nobody's front porch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not like, so that's why I go to therapy. That's why I work on myself. That's why I work on my clients this way. That's why I show up
Hmm.
this way. I had a guy tell me, he goes, man, you're just on fire all the time. And I'm like, well, I want to show up for this person that made time for me today. Like, I mean, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what are we doing here if we're not doing our best to show up in our best? And
Yeah.
also, I mean, what an amazing thing you did taking care of your dad. You know what I mean? That it goes unsaid sometimes, like how important it is that the people that brought us into this world, hopefully, like, what they did wasn't so horrible that we can't mend it on some level and take care of those people, especially at the end of their lives, because that's what they did for you, hopefully. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like,
Right.
and making that last, and you get to spend that time, man, that time that you never get back. So I hope, like, it sounds like you were pretty young. Can I ask you, was it hard to appreciate the time, or were you just kind of frustrated about the situation?
Was it hard to appreciate the time? I don't think it was hard to appreciate the time. I think I think in the beginning, when I was younger, so when I was like 16, 17, and I was still, like, in high school, and then it graduated, and I got into West Point, but I didn't end up going. I chose to stay here on island, not just because of my what was happening with my family, but um it was also a lot on my mom. So I think I kind of, like, chose to stay in my role, kind of, you know what I mean? I also feel like, I still had my whole life ahead of me, right? So I think my mindset at that time was not that I was going to miss out on anything. I cherished and thought that the time was important. And also, I think in the beginning, like, my dad, he ended up actually what's it called, going into remission from the actual cancer. So that was what initially he had. But he had more health things after that. That was just the initial thing. And then, when something bad happens, you think someone's gonna die, right? It's just, whatever. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
possibility, right? I mean, I could get hit by a car today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Knock on wood. But I'm just saying. Um, so when you think about it like that in the beginning, that's kind of really, really where our thought process was. We didn't really know what was going to happen. My dad ends up getting in remission for that, but nothing really changed in terms of habits. Whatever it is, it was what it was. But um, I cherished a lot of our time. We have, tons of great and amazing memories. I mean, I'm certainly thankful that I had a father that was, present and taught. I mean, my dad taught me everything. My dad taught me before he taught me how to drive stick shift, may I add, he taught me how to change a tire and change the oil first. So
Nice.
that's the first thing I learned. Then he taught me how to drive stick shift. I learned in like 30 minutes. And then he taught me, and then he was like, okay, I guess I'll drive in a car that's automatic now with you. And I was like, I had to like get to drive automatic. And I was like, what the heck? Like my dad was so weird and I never understood like what was happening, but I just experienced it in real time. And later on, I'm like, oh, now I get it. I'm one of the only girls of all my friends that can drive stick shift. And I don't rely on a guy to change my oil. I can do my own fucking oil. You know what I mean? So my dad wasn't trying to make me hyper independent, but he wanted me to be able to know enough things where I'm not just some stranded girl on the side of the road. And I appreciated that because I have a lot of these skills. I teach a lot of my guy friends how to do some of this stuff. But he's taught me everything. My dad taught me how to be very kind to people, how to be very personable. My dad was very popular. He was like Mr. Aloha. We couldn't go anywhere without someone talking to my dad. I was like, oh God, here we go. Everyone knew my dad. So I try to also live his memory by being the best qualities that he was, since a lot of him is in me anyway. I mean, I look just like him. So in a lot of ways, I'm very much the splitting image of him, which freaks my dad's like sisters and family out because they're like, "Oh my God, you're so much like your dad." But it's that energy is we have the same demeanor and energy, and we joke around and we're silly and funny. My dad was a very goofy dude. I mean, very goofy guy. Yeah, you would he would have cracked you up, And so and then that's how I just make you know his memory alive and all that. His birthday, he would have been 79, August 13th. So he just would have had his 79th birthday.
Happy heavenly birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, I don't think there was, I think obviously there were moments of frustration, but I think ultimately I have a lot of really great memories and I'm very fortunate that I had like a loving, I joke around and I say, hey, I don't have an OnlyFans because I had a loving father.
The only reason I asked that is my grandparents, they passed away before I could come to the realization of how
Mm,
important they were and that I wish I would have had more time with them. But
yeah.
Dave ended up filling that role for me in a way. And then that has now made me appreciate my parents more. And then it's made me
Mm,
make sure that my daughter spends so much time with my parents. Like I'm always like,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so, I
That
think
makes
sometimes
sense.
my mom sometimes thinks like I just don't want to I don't want to have her, so I want to drop her off. And it's not like that. It's like I just wanted to
Right.
be with you, just like I wanted to
Yeah.
just be with you because it's so important. It's just so important the growth of everyone, my parents and her and everybody.
And what's crazy is like, with that clock, right? I just we don't have to call it that, but we don't really know how much time we have, right? We don't know. I mean,
No.
they could have more time than you don't know. So it's like you're not really, but we're also trying to like you want to kind of be even with the time in a way too. I mean, I definitely wish there were certain aspects and holidays that I was able, like birthdays and stuff, and like I don't even remember ever spending a Father's Day with my dad, only because I was doing so many extracurricular activities. Like I was in Civil Air Patrol for 6 years, and every summer I was at an encampment. So usually it was Father's Day, and I was like, oh shit, I got to call my dad. And it was always a phone call. It was never I was with him because I was so busy as a very a kid that was trying to accomplish so much. But my dad was proud of that and he wanted us, he was like, who cares about Father's Day? Every day is Father's Day, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't care. Um but yeah, that's a great perspective, spending time with people, and I try to spend a lot of time with my friends, and not just that, but like anyone who I feel is gonna reciprocate that, because yeah, I'm learning, I think, in this phase of my life, that where the effort is, like whichever friends I'm seeing that are like, they value, and I tell my friends this too, your presence is a present.
Mhm.
you know Sometimes my friends don't have the money to go to the movie or do this, they don't want to hang out, and I say, look, I don't care that you don't have the money for the movie. Your presence is a present. I will pick you up. We can watch a movie at my house if you'd rather do that. We can watch a free movie. We can eat a free pizza, whatever. And I would rather just spend that time. And sometimes that time sitting on the beach and where we spent $0 was the best time than the times that we spent all that money.
100%. I
Yeah,
think we, we put value into, I don't know, like,
silly things.
go into nightclubs and all partying and all this stuff or whatever. But ultimately those are the moments where you're going to talk about them the next day with your friends. And then those are the better moments than the actual moments you had, because you don't even,
Yes.
you're like, you're partying, you don't know what's happening, but when y'all come and y'all talk about it, then that's where the moment is really impactful. And so that's why the beach is the same thing. But we don't make a lot of those connections. And so the things
Yeah.
I miss most about being young and partying is being there to see what would unfold and us talking about it the next day. That was the
What's
best
funny
part.
though is the way that things have been progressing with technology. I mean, 50 is the new 30.
I mean, look, like
30 is the new 20.
tonight I have a big group of guy friends. We're all gonna like go out, like have a dinner and stuff like that. I
There we
still do
go.
stuff, but like
Yeah, yeah.
for me, in the phase of life I'm in, my daughter and my family is like the most important thing. So like if I
Yes,
was out all
yes.
the time crazy partying, I mean, we'd be having other questions, like, you know
Problems.
what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm
I mean,
saying?
it's definitely appropriate, when especially when you have a family, to prioritize
Yeah.
those responsibilities. Yeah,
I think it's a pretty
100%.
good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, because then we'd be looking at you like, "Oh, come on, man, you're not are you responsible or what?"
I
But
think Chris Rock had some kind of joke where he was like what you doing out at the club on a Tuesday or something like that. Like, like you got a kid at home, So I
yeah,
try to
it's
keep
a good point.
that. Yeah, I mean, and I'm like, again, I'm striving to have a relationship with my daughter the way you did with your dad, where like, she comes to me, we talk to me, we trust me, we have a relationship, stuff like that. And I can't do that
Yeah,
if I'm out partying. You know what I mean?
right.
I gotta yeah, so it's so important.
Yeah, and yeah, wow, that's so interesting, and she's almost 5, you said.
Oh man, she's like she's something else. She's her
That's so
so
cute.
I think I mentioned her mom is a musician. And so I mean, it's not she started singing lessons when she was like she
Oh,
had barely
wow.
turned 4.
Oh, wow.
And she's written her own, I know this is gonna sound crazy, she's written her own songs and stuff like that,
It's
which is like
not it's
nut.
it's not crazy to me because I started writing songs as soon as I learned how to spell my name,
Well, see, she
and
makes us write them right now. She's like, I want you to write these lyrics. And I'm like, I mean, you need to learn to write. And so,
that's
anyways,
funny.
and so like she's just coming along like so fast, and I'm
Oh,
not ready
wow.
for like I'm not ready for any of
Oh,
this.
oh, that's funny. You're not ready, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, and then you blink your eye and they're graduating high school. Like, my nephew's about to graduate high school, I'm like, "What? This is
I know
crazy." Like,
that's another reason why, like, like when I'm like, it sounds silly, but like when I'm with her, my phone is not with us unless we're out of my house, like unless it's
yeah,
necessary, right?
right, right.
And you
That's good.
don't think it's a big deal
It's
until the
so
first
a big
time.
deal.
No, until the first time you go and you hang out with your kid, and then your kid starts like bored. You're like, this is boring. I'm just gonna get on my phone. You're like, oh, I don't have my phone. And you're like, well, what am I gonna do now? You're like, well, I guess I'm gonna play with my kid,
Yeah,
right?
you're
And
like,
so
"Oh,
then,
oh, yeah," you're like, what are you what are we
what are
playing?"
you doing? Yeah, you know what I
Who's
mean? And so
texting
like,
us?
yeah, and so no, I mean like, and so I learned really quickly that spending time is like whatever she wants to do, in the sense of like we pretend a lot and we talk about what I do a lot, and like we play video games together, but we always play together. It's always us together doing something, going somewhere, doing something, experiencing something. Her favorite
That's
thing to do
so
is
matters.
her
Yeah,
favorite thing to do is start the car. Like
that's
she
fun.
goes, she says like, Daddy, can I start the truck? I'm like, yeah, knock yourself out, so
That's cool. That's awesome. It's so important. It's it's so important.
I mean, I am her Sherpa. I am her guide. I
Mm,
am the person that she's looking to for answers. And
mhm.
so as her Sherpa, I go, well, what do you think the answer is? And if she's
Yeah.
like, if she's off, then I go, well, let's think about it a little bit. You know, if she's on, I'm like, wow, you that was really intuitive. Great job. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I'm here to help her figure out the world and not get hurt until she gets to the age where she can do it herself. And then hopefully I've taught her everything she needs to know that I don't have to worry about it. I'm trying to build a warrior. you know,
That's so funny. I think about that in comparison to how I grew up because in what heaven I would have been if any of my parents were musicians, but my dad was over here teaching me like car mechanics and sports. He was like always talking about sports and I was like, "Oh my god, dad, I don't care." But then I did care, and then now I'm like so obsessed with football and or whatever and everyone like, now I'm like the sports expert, not really, but my dad was always watching ESPN and just talking about all the and like, oh, this guy and like his running, and I'm like, oh man, dad. But what would have been cool is if my dad lived longer and would have been able to get into MMA because he would have loved MMA. Oh my gosh.
I
But
think, something I'm really appreciative right now is like I'm a pretty big basketball fan, right? And
oh
so I
yes,
watch a lot of basketball, but then my daughter will come in and she'll go, "Hey, what are you watching?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching basketball." And I was like, "Hey, there's a whole girls' league that does this." And she's like, "Really?" I'm
yes,
like, "Yeah." And so then we
yeah,
watch WNBA games together, right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think it's such a great example and such a great role model. Like here are people doing, these things, and I mean, it obviously it's existed for a really long time, but it wasn't on TV for consumption in the way it is now that we can just
yeah,
turn it on. And so I'm so grateful for that because it sets a really good example for her if she wanted to do
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Too bad it's still kind of boring compared to the men's basketball.
But hey, give it a minute.
But
It's gonna take a minute.
Caitlin Clark has definitely changed the game a little bit. I think for the interest, all of the interest and the hype, and other players too. And so I do like seeing that because it is really cool for me. I played basketball in high school, and no one ever really gave a shit about the girls' sports. So it's really cool that like it's people are caring about a player, that a female player, and people are caring. I'm like, oh wow, this is like I don't even remember that. My dad was obsessed with like Michelle Wee, who was like the female golfer that was big in
Mhm.
Hawaii. Obsessed. He like wanted me to be her, and so he taught me. We would go golfing, and he would teach me. I mean, thank God I'm like an amazing golfer now, and I should probably go professional at some point. But um, I was like, Dad, I don't care about golf like that. Like, I don't even think I'm really that good. And he's like, No, you are good because I taught you how to drive 200 yards. Of course you're good. And I was like, okay, but like, you're making it not fun, because you just want me to be like this professional golfer and like make you all this money. And I'm like, I don't even care about this sport. But I'm sure he wishes I did that.
My daughter, she asked me one day, she said, she goes, "Daddy, can I be a rock star?" And I said, "You absolutely can, but let me tell you, you're gonna have to work hard. That's a hard job. You're gonna have to work real hard. You're gonna have to be real dedicated. You're gonna have to understand you're gonna have to put in hours when nobody cares." Like she's 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if you're willing to do that, what I mean? And she goes, "I am." And I go, "Good." Now she has
Wow.
no idea what she just said. But
Yeah.
like I wanted to understand because I think that like, at least for me, I grew up in a generation where our parents just wanted us to be safe. You know what I mean?
Mm,
I'm Generation X, right? So we were latchkey kids, and so they were just trying to make life as good as they possibly could, and they could. And there was no such jobs as like what I do or my daughter being a singer. Like that was crazy talk, right? And so
right. Right.
I don't want to put any kind of limits on it, but I just want
Yeah. Yeah.
to, whatever it is, to try to be the best at it. If you're gonna be a
Yeah.
garbage man, be the best garbage man you could be. If you're
Right.
gonna be a stripper, be the best stripper you could be. Like
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
no part. Like I mean, that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why would you show up and not? Why would you do something half-assed? You know what I mean?
Yes. Use your
And
whole
so,
ass.
yeah, use your whole ass because like when you
That's a
got
good
skin
one.
in the game, when you got your
Yeah.
whole ass in the game, you care a lot more. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, 100%. You're so right. 100%.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
daughter's having a hard time with losing right now, and I told her, I said, look, if
The
you want
best
to win,
winners, the best champion. Tell her, oh my gosh, I have to show her all my medals. And
oh
I got to
yeah,
tell her, this is why I have all these medals, because I'm a professional loser. You have to lose because the glory of winning, it's not even, it's great, right? When you finally win, but no one sees the hard work behind what it took from losing to winning. Here, I'm going to just real quick, I'm going
yeah,
to show you.
yeah,
I mean, she's
absolutely.
not here, but these are.
Yeah, nice, nice. Look, God, those are big.
Okay, so I have
Those,
3 bronze jujitsu medals. So these are my
those,
reminders that I was not number one, right?
yeah, but
Right.
I mean,
But
that shows that you care right there. That's what that does.
so I actually have a tournament tomorrow morning, another one tomorrow morning,
Ooh, nice.
right? It's an in-house tournament. And then I'm training for November where I'm going to fight again in a different tournament. But these are my reminders that I'm not number one yet. There's still space for me to grow and work, and I still have to put a lot of work in. But when I went to the first tournament and I told my coach, I said, "Hey, Dave, you know, I went and I did the tournament, and this is what happened, and so I got third in the tournament." And he said, "You're better than you were last year because last year you didn't sign up for the tournament."
Nice.
And I was like, "That's a good point." And he was like, "So you're one step." And I was like, "That's a good point. I'm better than I was last year because last year I wasn't in the tournament." So I said, "Okay, that's a good point." And he said, "So next year you sign up again." And I was like, and he's like, "If you get bronze again, you're just," and I'm like, "That's a good point." Okay. I'm like, all right, this is all making sense now, but
Yeah.
it does. And that unfortunately, no one's going to see all of the hard work. No one sees the training. No one sees when I train twice a day and I'm getting tripped by. I train with guys. I don't train with girls. I
Ooh, nice.
train with my guy friends that are purple belts, black belts, higher belt than me. That they hurt me. They physically hurt me. But when I fight a girl in a tournament, I'm not scared of them because I just was fighting my friend for 2 months who was almost 200 pounds, 180 or 160 or whatever my friends are that I train with. And I'm like, I'm prepping myself, you know. But yeah, she's lucky she has you. You have really good advice.
Well, this is what I told her. I said, look, you have to take the chance of losing in order to win. That's just how it works. It's part of the process. So
Yeah.
if you don't take the chance, to do this thing, I mean, you'll never win. Like you
Yeah.
never if you never take that first step, right? And this is all reference to, I don't know if you know, do you ever play like, have you ever played Fall Guys or Stumble Guys? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is now.
It's a little video game, and you race
Oh,
other
a
little
video game?
people. Yeah, you race
Oh,
people, and
cute.
there's always
No,
obstacle courses and stuff like that. And
sounds cute.
she's very young, and she's just figuring it out, and it
Oh,
takes a
okay. Yeah,
while,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
she kept like falling off and losing and stuff like that. And she would get,
Practice.
yeah, but
Practice. Yeah.
I go, look, she would quit in the middle of the thing when something wouldn't go her
Oh,
way, and I was like, look, we can stop playing, but we ain't quitting. Like that's
yes.
quitting is not an option. We can stop when this is over, but you got to finish this round. You got to finish
Yeah.
this thing. You know what I mean? I understand this is tough,
Interesting.
but
Yeah.
because ultimately, when she gets older and wants these really big goals,
Yeah.
right? If I tell her the whole time, like, like you can't achieve these goals and it's okay to quit and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it's already ingrained in her head as a little person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
even if
True.
she never uses it, at least it's in her mind that the things that she wants she can accomplish them if she is consistent, works hard, and is focused and does the things that's necessary and tries to have a complete happy life. Like, you can do these things. It just takes work, but it's your life. You know what I mean? Like, you're making your life as great as you want it to be. So
Mhm.
that's how, even when I have to wake up early, I'm like, well, I get to wake up early in this bed, in this house, with this roof, with this hot water, with these clothes, with these sunglasses. I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful all the time. You know what I
That's
mean?
good. Yeah. Yeah.
It makes it real easy to wake up. Real easy to wake up.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It could be. Yeah. It could be. That's a good. You have a great perspective. I think you and me have good positive perspectives. it's just part of the game. If you are, I've been a competitive athlete for a long time. If you are competitive, you have to know what it's like to lose. Because when I put the name of the girls where it says first, second, and third, I put it on my fridge because it's my reminder that I wasn't there yet, and I remember how it felt to lose. Because when you
Little David
remember,
Goggins.
when you yeah, but when you remember what it felt like to lose and you don't like to lose, you bet your ass I'm going to be the one working harder than those girls next year. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I tell my nephew, my little nephew, who's like, he's very talented at baseball. I said, well, then just be better, be better, be better. Keep practicing,
See, I work,
practicing.
I have so many different types of clients because
Mm,
basically we all have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 feet kind of thing. You know what I mean? And we all have a brain and it all kind of works in the same way. And so I do different stuff with different clients at different times, but I work with athletes. And one of my main clients right now, his biggest struggle is that he's in a slump, right? But he's only in a slump because he's in a slump here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it takes a minute to break through those things, but like those are the points where people quit or give up or decide in their head that this is the way things are, and that's not necessarily like true. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not
somebody
true.
somebody asked me, they're like, "How do you motivate, like how do you like get yourself to like go to the gym when you're like feeling down or like whatever?" Somebody asked me that the other day. And I was like, "I don't dictate whether I'm going to the gym by my emotions. I'm gonna work out. Like I'm gonna do my training, and when my friends call me or text me in that hour gap, like I'm training no matter what. My whole house could burn down. All right, well, did I train today? Not yet. Okay, well, I still got to do that. There's not an option to let my emotion change that habit, and that because that consistency is how I won so many times. These are only my jujitsu medals. I haven't shown you all the medals that I have that are in my room hung up over there, way over there. These are just the 3 from jujitsu. I've played
Nice.
I've hockey, volleyball, basketball, what other sport? Champion, Spartan champion. I won a Spartan race in 2020 when everybody was sitting on their couch during COVID. I got first place. I beat all the guys. It was co-ed. I beat all the guys.
Dang.
They were like, "What the heck?" And so they invited me to the Spartan Championships in Athens, Greece.
Wow.
But I was in the military at the time, so I thought I was going to deploy, so I didn't end
Yeah.
up going. But yeah, every year I do the Spartan race out here in Hawaii, and I at least get top 50 in my age group. And last year I had COVID 2 weeks before the race. Do you
Dang.
think I didn't show up for the race?
No, I
No,
think you
I
showed up for the
showed
right.
my ass up for the race, and I got 18th in my age group.
Nice. Wow. That's
So if I didn't
crazy.
show up, I would have got 0. I wouldn't have showed up. So and I was like, oh man, I can't train. What am I gonna do? I guess I have to walk for an hour because I have COVID. Obviously, I had to heal from COVID, so I didn't have COVID anymore. When I showed up, but
Right.
I just had to rest. I was like, I can't do anything about it. I gotta rest, and then I can just walk because I can't really train at the same level because I'm not 100%. But yeah, you bet your ass I showed up for that race. So
I think
my friend,
you speak to. I mean, you're making a commitment to yourself, right? Your
yes,
training days, you're making commitment. You're showing up for Lucy. Like when you do that, you're showing up for Lucy, and like that's the most important. You have to show up for her first
yeah.
before you can show up for anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I do have friends that do get into slumps, and I tell them too, like, just call me if you need one of those motivational speeches. But one thing that does help is I say, because sometimes it's not for me, but sometimes they might find a video, like a motivational video, and I used to actually listen to them every morning, and that's
Nice.
really what got me at my peak fitness level. Is it's not really just doing it; it's doing it and hearing these motivational videos right before you go, and playing that stuff and just exposing to yourself to all of this positive, like you can do it and all these affirmations. And then you're in the gym and you're having that play, and you just feel really unstable. And it feels
You
really
set
great.
your intention. You set your intentions, right? So, like when
Yes.
you talk about showing up and being present, like just being present, right?
Hmm.
You go, okay, I have intentions around I'm doing on my way to the gym about what I want to do and how I'm going to show up. And I think that For somebody else, it might be like they barely got out of bed, they're slamming a cup of coffee, they probably almost hit a cat on the way out of their driveway, and then they're going to the gym, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They haven't decided to show up for themselves yet. And
Mm.
like, showing up for yourself is like here,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know what I mean? Like all my clients have been working with me so long, they should know how to like work out right now. Like, I mean, they should know how to take care of themselves physically. We've been doing that for like forever. I mean, we've been
Right.
working
Right.
all of it forever, right? But
Right. Right.
still, those things are a struggle. Still, that's like why it's part of my job.
Right. No, I love that. Yeah, that's very fulfilling work too. When you see somebody else, like for me, when I see somebody else succeeding, or when, and me specifically, I like to train people for obstacle course races. So, my friends are like, "Oh, are you gonna come? Are you actually gonna do it?" Like that's not even the question. And like I'm gonna be motivating you through the whole entire race. Like you're gonna see this different level because I've done these races like I do them all the time. Like to me, it's not about doing the race anymore. And what I like about them, obstacle course racing, is number one, I have like the worst ADD. So running is boring. I can never run a marathon. I have no interest in running a marathon. I'll die on this hill. But what I like about obstacle course racing, not that I don't think I want to do it. I just have no desire. But with obstacle course racing, as soon as you get bored, there's an obstacle. So you're like, oh, now I got to get over this. And now I got to do. And so for me, it fits my personality perfectly. And I tell people what's nice is you can still have weaknesses on the obstacle course, right? And then what's nice is then when you do one next year or the following year, you are slowly getting better at each obstacle, and then you put it all together. And now you could do all of it all together. And then now you're like, oh, how fast can I do all of it now? And there's one obstacle I can't do, which is silly, and it's literally throwing this spear thing at a
Oh,
target.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's the only one I suck at. It's also the only one I never practice throughout the year because I just don't. I don't care that much about it. But number two, at the end of the day, my number one motto is I fall forward. My friend was like, "Oh yeah, Lucy, are you going to do this competition?" This trainer messaged me today. "Do you want to do this? There's a championship thing." And I said, "Oh, tell me the information." And I made a joke. "Who's going to motivate me?" I was kidding. She's like, "I'll motivate you." And I was like, "I'm just kidding." And I was like, "Look, I fall forward. I'll probably say yes. We'll probably do it. I'll probably be on your team. I'll show up every Saturday to the Duts. Sure. I'll do it." Um, you know me, I love to say yes to another challenge, right? Before I'm even done with the first one. But I love that, and I love number one, I love suffering, and I love challenging myself too. And nothing challenges you more mentally by also going through more shit mentally. Because I've gone
100%.
through things emotionally. Thank God this morning I was able to handle some of that, the emotional stuff. But the mental, when I'm running or when I'm doing an obstacle course race, anything that's going on in your life, you're thinking about it when you're running or when you're, and that's also why I like the gym, because you're thinking about it and you're just kind of expending that energy out.
I think
Um,
that uh, um, people that struggle with their physical fitness and going to the gym and all that kind of part of their life, they just it hasn't become brushing their teeth yet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It hasn't become like this because for
second
me,
nature.
I don't know about for you, but for me, it's like that's like my time. It's like it's another form of meditation for me in a weird way, right?
Yeah.
And they haven't found that, because like I've been in gyms for like a really long time, and you always see those people that they're barely in their 20 minutes. I'm like, holy hell, like, did you get anything done? Like,
Hmm.
and it's because maybe they can't even be with themselves for that period of time. It's hard
Yeah.
to just to work on yourself. And because like, you got to think sometimes like when they're doing the exercises, they're just like, oh, I'm so out of shape. I'm so out of shape. This is never going to get better.
Mm,
Like, why am I even here? I'm out of
mm,
here. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So, when I said like
I've had
it all
days like
starts with
that.
yeah, I mean, everybody does. But the
Yeah.
difference is, you were talking about the obstacle course thing and leading your friends through it. And as you were this saying that, I thought, she's describing life. That's just life. Life is obstacles. And then some you
Yeah.
can't accomplish quite yet. And then you got to get better at them. And then you got to go buy a spear, apparently, to go practice like throwing spears. You know what I
Like,
mean?
where am I even gonna? I don't even.
Where you're gonna get a spear from, But like the thing is that like that's what life is it like hitting things kind of head on, trying to find a solution through it,
Yeah.
working through the obstacles that's gonna bring you. And like the better you get at that, the much easier things are. But it doesn't mean that you won't come across stuff that's gonna pull you down. That's not true. It just
Right.
means that like you're more prepared and you can pick yourself up faster, maybe. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Or better or stronger or whatever it is. I mean, I think like you said, would you say something like you're good at failing? You're the best failure. Would you say earlier? I forgot.
I'm what exactly did I say? Like, I'm an expert at
It,
losing.
yeah, expert at losing, right?
You
And
have
that
to
just
be, you have to be, because
you have to be.
and if you look at history, the people that have won the most championships, they lost. They lost. The my favorite example is Jay Cutler, who is a professional bodybuilder, good friend of mine, great guy. Jay Cutler lost. Or he wasn't even lost. He got like, I want to say it was like 19th or whatever. Nobody even knew. He even knew who he was. That's how bad on the totem pole he was, and that was such motivation for him that he came back and won Mr. Olympia. Then he got knocked off of the win when he lost to Ronnie Coleman. And then he came back again and beat Ronnie Coleman. And he's the only person in bodybuilding history that did that, that had that type of streak. And I feel like he was motivated by the losses. And when I've had conversations with him, I said, what was better? And he said, honestly, it was better to be the winner and lose and then take it back. He said that
Oh
was
yeah,
better than just
yeah.
winning. You show up and you win.
Hey, nothing to motivate you like revenge.
Nothing. But and yeah, but I, little kids, and even with my nephew, losing sucks. And my nephew now can just brush it off. He's like, oh, okay, we lost, because you lose, but you're learning.
It's the same thing,
And with jujitsu, you either win or you learn.
It's just like when my daughter this video game, right? Like in the beginning,
Yeah,
she'd throw a fit when she'd lose, and I go, look,
kids are
if you,
funny.
well, I was just like, look, if you throw fits, we're gonna turn it off.
Yeah,
I need you to be responsible for your emotions, right? Like we're
yeah,
gonna show up that way, right? And so now when she
yeah,
loses, she just like sets her controller down, and like she used to be like, hey, let me play yours, and I was like, well, like you lost, it's not that's fine, you know what I mean? But I don't really care, so I give it to her, stuff like that. But now
yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, no, Dad, I just want to watch you do it. I want to see what you do,
That's good.
and she
That's, yeah. She's learning.
hey, and
Yeah.
she's watching to see how I handle my losses.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? And
100%.
so like we're learning so like in a simple thing like a video game, we're learning so much about each
So,
other and
oh
how to be
yeah,
with each other, stuff like that. But that all comes from my intentions of how I want to show up like that. If we're gonna do something, I don't want to say it's wasteful like playing video games, but if we're gonna do something like that,
yeah.
like we need to be together and like communicative and work together and all those things and like put some practice to it if we're gonna do something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. That's so funny that she's over here throwing a fit over a video game. But
I
yeah,
mean, we all did it.
that's
I mean, I did
we
it all the
all,
time. Yeah.
yeah, and then it got like trendy for a while too. Just, but yeah, yeah, I almost love losing. Oh, I thought of this story, and I just remembered it again. So I was on the basketball team when I was younger in high school, and we were undefeated JV team, and we only lost one preseason game. And I'll never forget this, because my mentality and my expectation was, I was like, guys, I'm not I'm not feeling ego high from winning. I'm worried because this is the only team that we've ever lost to, and we're about to play them in the championship game. Nobody listened to me, or nobody was concerned. Well, we're winners, we're undefeated, whatever. I was like, okay. So my expectation, I believed in my team, but my expectation was reality. This is the only team that we actually lost to, and they were very good. We lost the championship game.
Oof.
Everybody was crying. I wasn't crying.
Yeah.
We're walking down on the thing, and one of the seniors came up to me and she was like, there we go. Lucy's not crying. And she's like, Lucy, because she was trying to get everyone to stop crying. Like, oh my gosh. She comes up to me. She's like, Lucy, you're not crying. Good job. And I was like, honestly, we got so far, and that's the only they should have beat us. They were better than us. They were better than us in the preseason, and they were better than us again. because we were too high off winning, and they humbled us and they were like, hey, technically we were better from the start. And I remember that loss so significantly because everyone was so upset, and I was like, honestly, we won like 99% of our games. Like, there's really nothing to be upset about. That was a solid season, even though we lost the championship. I would
Well,
rather
I
win
mean,
every game and lose the championship. You know?
it sounds like you were dialed in, right? Like mentally, you're like dialed in, but it sounds like the team was not mentally dialed in. So it's a
We weren't
disconnect,
that in.
and
Just
you see that
yeah.
you see that in sports all
Oh
the
yeah.
time. There's all this stuff in all sports we kind of can't explain of why this team fell apart at this moment and stuff like that.
Everyone's always trying
And
to explain it.
there's nothing else to explain except for like whatever they showed up mentally on that particular night did not get them to where they needed to be, because everything
Yeah.
else they showed, physically they showed up, they did the practices, they did the stretching, they did all the things, right? But the thing they didn't do is make sure they were dialed in here. And really great teams I mean, I personally don't like Tom Brady, but I can't diss how many like Super Bowls and how dialed in. I mean, that guy's dialed in. That's why they
Yeah.
won. It's because he was
Yeah.
dialed in. The team was
I
dialed
just
in. They
say
were.
we just love to hate Tom Brady. It's not personal. It's
It's not personal about.
if I met the guy today, I would be nice. It's not like that, but it's like he's just not on the team. He's not my team and my player.
He just doesn't play my style of football that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like different style of football, and
What is your
that
team?
ain't.
I'm
I'm
curious.
from. So I grew up. Oh, I didn't grow up in Austin. I grew up in a town in South Texas, and the closest team we had was the Oilers at the time.
Oh, okay.
So now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a Houston Texans fan, and so
Okay.
so I
They're
was
pretty
really
good.
excited.
Yeah.
I was really excited about Deshaun Watson, and then there was that whole thing, and I was like, oh, here's another 12 years of my life down the tubes. Like we'll never get out of this. And then God granted C.J. Stroud, and then I think they're gonna
Yeah.
finally get. I think they're gonna have a solid season. I
I
don't know
think
how
they
this whole
will.
thing's gonna go, but like
I think they will.
at least my favorite team is a competitive football team. That's all I want. Just competitive football team, and like let's go see some games and have fun. Like that's enough for me. Winning a championship every year is that's crazy talk. Only
Yeah.
Tom Brady's doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Saints fan, so I'm in the. We'll see. We'll see how. But I am gonna finally go to a home game for the first time, so I'm
Ooh,
excited
nice,
about that. So
nice.
yeah,
Have you
next
ever
month.
been to New Orleans?
Never even been to New Orleans.
When are you
So
go? What time of year are you going?
I am going in the second week of September.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. It's gonna
It'll
be
be a good
the
time. The weather be nice.
it's
You know
gonna
what I
be
mean? Oh,
gonna be the
you'll
49ers versus the Saints. So
nice. Yeah, and that they I think they redid the dome and the whole area. That's such a cool vibe. It's a cool place to go.
it's gonna be cool. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Well, Scottie, is there any like morsel of advice or key advice that you want to get? I feel like we could just talk for hours, so we'll
Probably so.
definitely have to do another one. But is there any life advice or little piece that you want to give to anyone listening?
I would just say, like, it's so cliche to say that, the best thing you can do is be you kind of thing. Just be yourself, right?
Yeah.
But if you truly lean into that and show up as your best person, you know, all the things that people might judge you on don't really matter, right? When you
Yeah,
show up as your best self,
that's true.
all that stuff just kind of fades away and you just let it like, shake off. But that comes with how you take care of yourself mentally, physically, and like finding like purpose in what do you want to do. So like when I do my coach with my clients, we're tackling all the mental stuff, we're tackling all the physical stuff, and we're trying to find like long-term purpose of like what do you want to do with your life so that you can put your ship in that direction and start going. Like there's no
Yeah,
time like the present, right? One of my
right.
favorite quotes is the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now, right?
Yes, I love
And
that.
so like, like start planting trees of things that you want to grow. And sometimes they fruition and sometimes they don't, but doesn't mean you shouldn't plant trees, right? And so
Right, right, right.
find ways to show up as being the best version of yourselves. Find ways to meditate, find ways to go to the gym, find ways to be better for your parents, find ways to just be the best version of yourself so you can be good for everybody else.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching Lucy's Paradise podcast. You heard it first. Just be with Scottie G. And you
Thank
can
you.
check out his podcast on Spotify, and I will link all of this stuff as well. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. And thank you, Scottie, so much for having us. Aloha.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.